Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda. Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Featuring real talk, real stories, real support. This is The Mind Matters on Stream UG Radio. Your life, your music.
Notes and noise.
Try to find peace in the bottle, long nights in the club, trying to stay out of trouble. On river alcohol, had to learn how to paddle. Lost a lot of friends, it's a war, not a battle. The loneliness double. Staring in the mirror and all I saw was demons. Trying to clear my head, stay focused on this meal. Had to go through the seasons, God has his reasons. You gotta go blind to see the vision. Nothing lasts forever after darkest light. You gotta still believe that your future's bright. Reach for the stars, eyes on the prize. Keep hope alive, enjoy the ride.
Being alive is what it takes. I got this what I am. Believe in truth and life. Being alive is what it takes. I got this what I am. Believe in truth and life. Everything good once you pray hard, yeah. Shinanyo sola kubango sola. Nanyo mutima kokwe kukonekitinga kusanyo. Just work hard on you. Awabulumi mute bulunjia mundabula mubo. Ojikiriza sola.
You gotta still believe that your future's bright. Reach for the stars, eyes on the prize. Keep hope alive, enjoy the ride.
Notes and noise.
Yes, you are welcome back to today's episode of Mind Matters with Bill Bekunda, live.streamugradio.com. It has been a wonderful week. I have uplifted my own spirits because, you know, when things are not going the way they are supposed to be, you take charge. You have no choice. You take charge. And therefore today, I want to share with you a bit of news on what's happening in the mental health world here in Uganda, because we are not abreast with most of this news. Current estimates show that 24.2% of Ugandan adults and 22.9% of children under 18 years old experience mental health disorders. 24% is a quarter of the country. Practically 24% of all adults in the country. And this is not a good thing. 85% receive no treatment. We understand that there are many in the rural areas who, of course, don't access these services because we know we only have one national referral hospital. We also have very few private entities that deal with mental health, which are not affordable to the majority who live below the poverty line. And also those who can afford it do not want to go there because of stigma, which is another big problem. We are here trying to educate people to understand what mental health is so that we can beat the stigma and they are able to get the help that they need. So only 1.4% of 100,000 people get help. Very, very dangerous. And we also have information from Butabika, which says they have got currently they have 1,300 patients versus the 650 bed capacity. I believe we really need to do better. The government needs to do better. Weekly admissions are 140 new patients with 20 daily. Annual patient visits soared from 491,000 in 2020 to 21 to 616,000 from 2023 to 2024. Well, that would be a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It's a good thing because more people are trying, are understanding and beginning to get help. But it's a bad thing because it means there are still more problems happening. And instead of numbers reducing, they seem to be increasing. It's really terrible. So there's a lot of care demand. There's a lot of care demand. Youth in crisis. School suicides highlight acute vulnerability, urgent need for structured support, and suicide discrimination. We have had some stories. Most of the stories, especially those up country, are not heard. So let me just give a recap. Adults with mental health issues, 24.2%. Children under 18, 22.9%. Untreated cases, 85%. Mental health professionals per 100,000, only 1.4. Depression cases treated in 2023 are 239,000. Butabika outpatient visits, 616,000. And this is Butabika alone, not including figures from safe places where I work, from many other rehabilitation and mental health facilities. And then we have also Butabika admissions at 140 inpatients weekly. So these figures highlight an alarming but actionable mental health crisis. Strategies like increased funding, expanding training, integrating services into schools and primary clinics, and addressing substance misuse could significantly improve outcomes. Now, when we hear that, where do we think we are standing as a country? Not very well. Today, I'm going to be having a guest who will be coming in, and she is somebody who has passed through the difficulties of recovery. We don't like just talking about addiction or mental health without giving the remedies, without giving the solutions. And so I make it a point to try and bring a guest in every week who is either a professional or somebody who has a lived experience with using substances, or somebody who has a lived experience with helping a sufferer. Over the first few episodes we have done, the first engagement we had was a clinical counseling psychologist. Yeah, there's a difference between a counseling psychologist and a clinical psychologist. So we had a counseling psychologist come in on about a month ago, and we were talking about suicide. That week we had a child in Chambogo committing suicide because of not paying fees, and we thought maybe it was a good time to highlight this problem and talk about it. And in that episode, we talked about the causes, why young people are getting more involved in suicides. We talked about how to prevent it. We talked about the scale at which it is in the country. We talked about so many things connected to suicide. And if you want a recap of those, you can go to my socials on YouTube and you'll find them. Then the following week we had Christian Mugarura, who is the director for ADAM, which is anti-drug and alcohol abuse movement. And he was telling us his lived experience of using drugs, how he started as a child at the age of 13, P7 vacation. And it was so terrible. The kind of things we were talking about, the feedback I got was, how is this happening? But one of the things I picked out most from that show was, one, the camaraderie or the comradeship that young people have. Me as a young smackist in St. Mary's College, Kisubi, we used to call it solidarity, whereby people who of the same feather would do the same things, or they would support each other. What in the first world they called gangs, only that gangs are a little bit more aggressive, they fight, they have wars and all that, but they are close to gangs in that they do things together, they keep their pocket money together, they keep their food together, they make sure that they're okay, they keep money to go and use outside of the school, and they also take care of each other. They take care of each other's emotions. They they keep each other company. They advise each other, much as they are all advising each other the wrong thing. Unfortunately, the wrong advice yields the wrong results, and therefore, as they grow older, they develop problems. So that was Chris Mugarura giving us his personal experience. Then we did have Rebecca Macheli on her socials. Rebecca was a person who suffered an alcohol use disorder. And she has this very intriguing story as a lady, as a female. How are you affected? How are females affected differently than men? And we discovered that females do not metabolize alcohol like men do, or even drugs. Their liver produces less of the enzyme that breaks down these substances. And therefore, they take less, and their blood alcohol content or the is higher. So if a man and a woman take the same amount of alcohol, the blood alcohol content of a female will be higher than that of a male. And hence the regulations which say a woman should take only maybe 2 drinks and a man 4. That is the difference. Also, there are so many things she talked about, like women having a lot more fat, women being a lot more emotional, and because of that emotion, they are more susceptible to developing depression and anxiety. And then she also talked about her story, how it was difficult, how she got into recovery. And the process was different from mine, because I was taken into rehabilitation, and she was taken, and no, she had to go through we call it self-rehabilitation. I think I'll call it that. She had to go through being alone and away because of the lockdown. So it was, she says, God is the one who put her in a situation that disabled the continuation of use. And it gave her time to, build on her strength, focus on God, and he helped her through. All those stories you can hear on and see on my YouTube. Very soon we shall be coming to you live on YouTube from Stream UG Radio. And I think that will be a lot better and easier. Then the last guest that I had was Shadrach Kutesa. Shadrach Kutesa was in the limelight for a while. He still is, although in a different field. What we call the worldly entertainment. He started the first tattoo company in Uganda. He grew to start, I think it was also a hair salon, which was very, very well known. He was a promoter. He used to sign celebrities, like Keiko, like he had on his team, I think, GNL, Zamba, for those who know these people. But he's worked with so many artists and promoted music and entertainment. And he explained how he started, slowly. It didn't start as a full-blown use. He started with a little bit of weed because he was like, that's what the status quo demands. I mean, people, when you'd watch TV, you see, like in the US and everywhere, I named people like Snoop Dogg, and who is well known for smoking weed. And it was cool. It was like the life. You can't be in that position and not smoke. So unfortunately, he was introduced as well to cocaine eventually. And that is when things now began to significantly go down the drain. He managed to overcome it as well. He also did not have to go into treatment, and he was able to seek the divine intervention of God. But he has a very, very intriguing story. He sought the divine intervention of God and was able to come through it. So that's the update of where we have reached so far. Where are we going? We are going into understanding mental health at depth. I myself always want to give a portion of my story with every episode because it's very relevant to what we are talking about. And today I am going to talk about my childhood. My childhood was very interesting. I was born during the time of Idi Amin. And during that time, there was a lot of fear. Let me call it fear. There was a lot of fear. We have had stories, or I have had stories from my mother who talks about the time when there was no sugar, there were no basic essentials. They had to cross the border to Kenya to, get stuff like sugar and toilet paper and soap. And it was very unstable. She talks about how everybody was on the line. They didn't know who can be attacked, who might be killed. And another story that I vividly remember that she told a long time ago was how my father had to go to exile. Now, why am I talking about all this? Because it is relevant. During that time, because parents were on the edge, they were living on the edge, they could not concentrate on taking care of their children. And this is very important. Parents need to give attention to their children, to watch them, to monitor them, to teach them. But if the parent is under stress, they are not able to do that effectively. And so what happens was, young children, we were neglected, not out of desire, but out of condition. So you'll find that a majority of young people who grew up in those times had a difficult childhood, a very, very, very difficult childhood. Now, it's depending, I'm talking about my story. I'm not talking about another person's story. And therefore, this is what I relate it to. Because of that, I developed an anxiety problem. That's what I believe. I had a story from one of my aunties, where she was saying that were trying to cross the border. They were taking me across the border during those difficult times, were detained at the border for a while, I think for a day or 2-3 days. I need to get my facts corrected, but were detained there. And being in a cell, a 1 or 2 year old kid, a child knows what's happening in the surroundings. It does something. We know that the most important years of a child's development are from childbirth until 5 years old. That's when the brain develops most. So it was a difficult time, and I developed anxiety. Now, this anxiety was so bad that I remember I shared it on my Facebook page. But this anxiety was so bad that I used to get panic attacks. And I didn't want anybody to notice that I was panicking, because I would get shakes. I would feel like I'm sweating. So what I did is that I turned it into anger. I used to get angry, as in I would lash out at maybe somebody or something. So it would either be a fight or an engagement in something that, was totally not connected to my being anxious. But I never wanted to show people this vulnerability of my anxiety. And therefore, it went on for a while. And I don't think anybody noticed it because people were busy. My father was a doctor. He was working hard. My mother was a banker. She was working hard. And so, as parents usually do, the only solution is kiboko. We say, the Christians say, spare the rod and spoil a child. And I want parents to note this, especially, that it is not in all cases that sparing the rod will spoil a child. Sometimes I believe it makes it worse. Though it might be out of good intention or because it's the norm, culturally people, that's what they do. It is advised in the holy books. But do you know what is actually happening to this person? Anxiety is not controllable. I was not able to control myself. When the shakes would begin, when the fear would set in, I would start sweating, and I was not drinking or smoking. I was a child, 10, 11, 12 years old, I remember. And so I would put on that defense. That was my defense mechanism. So it went on, and it started getting worse in my senior one. By the time I went to senior one, I had passed highly in my P7 to go to St. Mary's College, Kisubi. And when I got there, for my senior one, my first year there, I was very engaged in class, extremely. I was a discussant. My friends were high achievers. I remember I was in senior 1B. Physics, chemistry, biology, those were my favorite. Mathematics. And, it helped me a lot when I would discuss on the blackboard, for instance, that I would learn more. And I was inquisitive. I would want to get help academically. Now, when I got to the first set of exams that were given as a senior one, I remember getting a panic attack. Now, this was a school whereby I was at the bottom of the chain. I was in senior one. I'm a child. I feared to bring out my anger, defenses, because they are bigger boys. It wouldn't work. They would probably beat me up if I, And in fact, even in my senior one, I was one of the small guys. I wasn't one of the big ones. And so I fell sick. I actually did fall sick. I got a high fever. I got headaches. I was shaking. I was sweating profusely. And so they gave me an exit to go home. And this was about 2 days. No, it was, I think, the day of the first exam. So they sent me home. When I get home, my father had a clinic here in Kampala on William Street, and I go there. So when I get there, Of course, he's in, they check for malaria and typhoid and all these things. There was nothing. So my father asked me a question. He says, how are you feeling? And I told him exactly how I was feeling. And then he told the nurses a very interesting thing. He said, let him go and lie down, cover him with a blanket. They gave me Panados, 2, those round tablets, just 2 tablets, and told me swallow them and sleep. And then he mentioned another thing. He said, don't worry about him, he's just panicking. Now, of course, it made me feel small or bad, but here he's saying, I'm panicking, and it made sense to me because, yes, I was panicking and I knew it, but I didn't connect it to anxiety. I had no idea. I was still green about all these things. And so they covered me with a blanket. I sweated profusely. I fell asleep for about an hour. And then when I woke up, I was feeling very fine. So when I woke up, I'm feeling fine. I'm like, I didn't know it was Panadol he had given me. I thought it was some other medicine. So he asked me when I woke up, the nurse came, checked me, checked my temperature, everything. And then I went back to my dad and he asked me, so would you like to go and do your exams? And I said, no, because I've already missed this one. If I go back, I'll get confused. And he got the point and he said, okay, it's all right. You rest, you go home, don't worry about it. You will do, but the next term, when the exams come, you must do them. That's what he told me. So I didn't do those exams. And I went home and I was normal and I enjoyed those few days. Remember, I was still well-behaved, in the discipline of not using substances. And so that is how that part ended. I went back to school the next term and I performed highly in my exams. I didn't get an attack, partly because it was embedded in my head that this time around, no attack. If anything happens, you are going to do what you're supposed to do. And I passed well. Taking me to my senior 2, of course, in the most prestigious school in Uganda at the time. Now, I must say this. Some of you have children who are suffering from these issues. They have anxiety, they are depressed, and parents wonder, how can a child of 10 or 11 years old be stressed or depressed? Is it possible? Now, the child does not know they are depressed. They just know that they have overwhelming feelings of fear or of anger. They seem not to be able to concentrate. But instead of finding out what exactly is wrong and finding a solution for it, guess what they do? They cane them. They beat them into submission. And therefore, you're just postponing the problem. You need to do a check physically with a professional, because we have more professionals available these days, to be able to know what's wrong, and you find the right way in which you can help this child. We are going to take a short break and I will be back with Mind Matters. We are on Stream UG Radio, on all our social media platforms. You can always join us and enjoy the show. Mind Matters, coming to you from Stream UG Radio.
Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda on Stream UG Radio. Your life, your music.
And if I tell you that I won't come over, what you say about it? What you say about it?
I done all the bit.
Cause you need a love deal done. Nakusanza jone chinuma, nga wenata we feelinga. Nebanga mbuli muli anuma, kade nsuno December. We could take a kopa, mopo wa bulungi, osula bulungi. Naba kuchuli denduma, sibo chakube wala. Shawete, guma guma, guma guma, guma guma mwami. Shawete.
kasuju ni wakusedekende bweba tampete mutujo
Wekuma wanonda Wekuma twelonda Love yesinga Bine bila bya kweunda Soma Nsobuchenga wanambye Okuva mu banji chengambye Kuwanganelero byemfumbye Byose mulala Guma mwami
shower there
Guma mwami Ojole kulubutu Oluwobede nakasuju Iwakusetekende Wewatampita mutuju
count on my baba de count on my auto chimala tobo zante chekwade skin in a tattoo count on me baba de count on me auto chimala tobo zante chekwade skin in a tattoo
Kakakafila kubulamu mambo kusikade yo manindi nawe Kamuwa kufazo kukunyumira kati mubakulungela yenze musale
shower there
Guma mwami
shower there
Guma mwami
ojoye kulubutu olubobedde nakasuju ni wakusedekende bweba tampete mutuju
Kakakafila kubulamu mambo kusikade yo manindi nawe Kamuwa kufazo kukunyumira kati mubakulungela yenze musale
Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda on Stream UG Radio. Your life, your music.
Yes, welcome back. It's Bill Bekunda, the sober alcoholic. I'm here with you on Mind Matters program, Stream UG Radio, and you are welcome. Today we are talking about drug abuse. I have just shared a bit of my story in childhood. As we go forward, it's going to get more and more intense because if you go to my social media platforms, just yesterday I was talking about the beating episode of my addiction life, and so many people in addiction go through that. And it's not unheard of in Uganda because we have seen a lot of violence on the screens when it comes to news about celebrities. They are fighting, they are abusing each other, there is beef, there is commotion. It's difficult to understand. What we don't think about is why is all this happening? How is it happening? Drug abuse among celebrities is complicated because, number one, they are in the limelight. And this limelight makes you feel invincible sometimes. Sometimes it puts you in so much fear that you don't even know if you're going to be able to maintain what you have already built. Because remember, I think I heard this from one young lady who is a celebrity, who is called Azawi, who said that in 2017, if anybody had told her that by this time she would be living the life she's living, she would have laughed at them and told them they're a dreamer. So when it happens, some of them end up falling into problems. So what are the problems? I'll start with the first. The first is the illusion of fame. Number one, the illusion of fame. Many people believe celebrities have perfect lives because what they show is perfection. When you look at a celebrity, you think that what they are showing on their social media status is what actually it is all about. She'll put on nice clothes, or he will put on nice clothes. He will drive in nice cars. He will live in a nice house, maybe rented or their own, we don't know. And many of them flaunt these we actually, they are supposed to be called lies, but these illusions that they have this, they use a lot of makeups. If they're females, they disguise themselves with all kinds of hairstyles and colors, dreadlocks and covers. Very few of them do it for the meaning of what those things actually represent, but they simply do it to put on a show because they're entertainers. They're supposed to put on a show. And therefore, they often battle loneliness. There is nothing as bad as putting on a show. People think that everything is good. You're doing a music video, you're in a Range Rover, you're putting on all these clothes which are borrowed, rented out to you. There are these lights and whatever, and then maybe you're throwing fake money, and you wake up, you go back home, and you're actually lacking. Before they get to that point where they have got what they want, it is like that. Then also the loneliness also comes when people start thinking you have and want some of it, and so you have to start keeping away from people. People change. There is the anxiety. Will I make it? Will I keep it up? I'm growing older. What am I going to do next? There is depression. There is trauma. There are so many things that happen to a celebrity. Now, the pressure to maintain public image and always perform. Remember, they work late nights, long nights sometimes. Sometimes they are required to work during the day to go to the studios and all that, and also to go and promote themselves. It's very interesting when Shadrach was talking about being convinced and what happens to celebrities as well. He mentioned someone comes and starts giving you free stuff, free drugs, just because you have reached a certain status. And you feel it is the cool thing to do. I mean, that's one of the innocent ways. You feel it's the cool thing to do, and you start taking. Then after your body gets used to them, they are no longer going to continue giving it to you. So now you have to go and buy it yourself. That is the development of the problem. Some of these drugs are created intentionally to help, to make you get very bad withdrawals, that the only way you can suppress the withdrawals or the after effects is by using a drug. So they are lured into it a lot of the time. Sometimes they are told that it's the best thing for you. You will perform better. And that pressure also can cause problems. So we go to the next. Pressure from the industry. The entertainment industry often normalizes drug use. Now, this is bad for both the artists and the consumer. Why? The selling songs are usually associated to drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, taking weed, of late vaping, party drugs, stimulants. That's what it's all about. And this is dangerous because for the consumer, they are drawn to this. They now want to participate. They also want to use because they think it is cool. And they are saying things like, if my celebrity can do it and attain all this, remember that also that there is the illusion of the kind of lives they are living. And then they'll say, my role model is always drunk. So, maybe I should do the same. Because of this normalizing it's young people who suffer the most. Because for them, they go with whatever comes. And you'll find them, because they don't even understand what happens, they just think it's cool. And drugs don't lie. If somebody tells you that try it for the first time and they tell you you're going to get this effect, it will actually give you that effect. when they are selling you some drugs or drugs and alcohol, they don't tell you the after effects. They only tell you what it will do for you in the immediate. And therefore, many young people start to take it. So, by glamorizing, they also participate. We talked about with Shadrach how entertainment places usually are covered in using substances. You can't go to a club where that is where most of the entertainment is being done and everyone is drinking tea and milk and coffee. In fact, it sounds laughable. Why? Because the norm has made it look like you cannot enjoy a night out on tea, coffee, and juice. Well, I can dispute that because at one time I thought the same. I used to glamorize the fact that people who don't drink are boring. But now I realize that I enjoy myself more without using anything than I did when I was using. So it is really, that normalization is a very negative trait that makes people in the entertainment industry use it a lot. Long working hours, late nights, and high expectations push artists toward substance use as a coping mechanism. You see, when you take a drug, it actually enhances your abilities. People will tell you, when I smoke weed, I feel more creative. And they do. Why? Because of course it blocks the inhibitors in your brain, and therefore you don't question. Everything seems to flow. You know? So a person will find it easier to use a drug to achieve their mission than to do it the normal way. Because it works. Alcohol, the first few moments of drinking alcohol actually make you feel good. I used to drink alcohol. I know it. I failed to get the high that I first got. If I may just chip it in. The first time I went to drink, I was lured by my friends and we sat in a group, and I'll just skip to the part where I drank. The first sip, because the first time I intentionally drank, I did not drink the good brews. They call them the sophisticated ones. Not good, but sophisticated or well packaged. I drank the local brew. And it was called Kasese. Now, where we had escaped from school. The first sip of that drink made me cough. It was smelling bad and it burnt my throat. It was very unpleasant, if I may put it in those words. I didn't like it at all. Then came the second sip. Believe me not, it didn't smell, it didn't choke me, I didn't feel the burn, and I didn't cough. To make matters even better, every sip I took after that made me feel good, better than I ever felt in the whole of my life. And I remember asking myself this question: what have I been missing all my life? Because this was unbelievable. It was like impossible to imagine that this is a real feeling. So anyhow, I started looking forward to going back to the next use. Let me say, I was obsessed with the next time I'm going to use. And so I started to use, and I started idolizing the use of alcohol. That's what it is. It will make you think that this is what you're going to get for the rest of your life. And so when you start looking forward to the next time will be okay, but as you go forward, you will start needing more to to get the same satisfaction. You need to use more to get the same satisfaction. So if you used to feel very nice after drinking, say 4 beers, not necessarily drunk, but nice, feeling good, that uplift. Now you're going to start needing 8 to feel the same effect. But you remember now you're taking more of the alcohol and you're taking more of the substance, whatever it is. And therefore, at the end of the day, you'll start taking more and feeling less of its effect. And the more you take, the more it has an effect on your body. And therefore, the hangovers start becoming worse. The attention span reduces. The sickness or withdrawals get more intense. Basically, look at a person who is facing pressure from the industry, for instance, working long hours, late nights, and needing more substance each time. And so you find that now you're taking a full bottle of Uganda Waraji, you're not feeling as good, but you're more drunk. People confuse the difference between feeling good and drunk. Being drunk means your body is more strained by intoxication. It doesn't mean that you've lost it. It doesn't mean that you've lost it. So basically, because of that, a person working long hours will get more disoriented and disturbed. Then there is also access and enablers. Celebrities usually have easy access to drugs and alcohol. And I've had this, and I'll confirm with our guest that because I had a friend who was big in the music industry, and he said sometimes they would sing for booze. So they would go there and they're giving them a bottle of this, a bottle of that, and 4 crates of beer, and that is what they are paying them with. And he said the reason they do that is because they are given promotional drinks, and therefore instead of giving them money, they are giving them this. Now, it's very interesting because I ran a bar at one time, sadly, although I don't know whether I should say sadly now, but yeah, at the time it seemed to be the right thing to do. And when I did, I remember I used to get those promotional drinks. And of course, I used to use them. Either I would sell them off or I would give them as extras to people who would bring me more customers. So that is another thing. Then they have mental health struggles. Many celebrities have underlying mental health conditions like depression. Remember, many of them come from humble backgrounds, and that is not put into consideration. Many of them, like me, remember I told you I had anxiety as a child. They have that anxiety, and then they are elevated to these positions whereby it's a different world, and they have to keep up appearances and all that. Many of them have suffered trauma because of where they're coming from, or even to get to the positions or to where they are. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Some have bipolar and they are undiagnosed. So we say that without proper support or treatment, they may self-medicate with drugs. And because, of course, it works for a while, then, you'll want to take advantage of that. Finally, I'll talk about shame, stigma, and public scrutiny. I'm really glad that Chandiru Jackie is here, and she'll explain that better. Me as a person who suffered substance use disorder and alcohol use disorder particularly, although I used to use multiple drugs, anything I would come across. But I remember the shame that I felt. I remember the stigma. I remember the scrutiny I got from my family and people who knew me, even my friends. But it was only but a small group. I mean, it's like, okay, I can count them off my hand. My family, my cousins, my relatives, then my OBs and OGs, because there was a time on social media, someone was like, but who is this guy? And then another person responded, you don't know Bill. That shows how small my circle is. But imagine a celebrity who is known around the whole country. Not only the whole country, globally, or in most countries that listen to the kind of music or entertainment that they perform. I can't imagine that magnitude. It's hard to comprehend. But anyway, That is what it is. Then there is also fear of judgment from fans. We are going to confirm with the celebrity here to say how does that happen? How does the fear of judgment from fans, the media, or sponsors prevent them from seeking help? I remember a clip of it was I don't know if you say viral, but my friend from NBS who was taken to Butabika Hospital. Let me not mention the name. For those who don't know, you don't know. But he was taken to Butabika and he made a scene. You know, he was like, "No, I'm not a mad person. You can't bring me here. Why am I here?" And it made the news and all that. Why did he do that? Because there was the fear of judgment. You know, because there is also the stigma. People think Butabika is for mad people. It's not for normal people. Why are you bringing me here? You know? And so we are going to have all these answered as we come into the next hour. So right now, I am going to introduce you the celebrity of the hour. And she's called Jackie Chandiru. For those who don't know Jackie, you'll need to learn music, I guess. Jackie.
Yes, please.
You are most welcome.
Thank you so much.
I have talked a lot, but I wanted to give a base before you start. You know?
Excellent.
First start, who are you, Jackie Chandiru? Let's start there. Who are you?
I'm the bad gala gangster straight from Kijomoro Maracha Lubara Zampa Kwari, Jackie Chandiru, the queen of the Nile.
Okay, in English that we the laymen can understand.
Oh, it's very nice things, just
Yes.
plain old nice things. I'm just saying I happen to be the bad girl, the gangster.
Yes, the
because
gangster.
I believe a gangster is a person that has gone through everything.
Yes.
I'm straight from Kijomoro Maracha. I am a Lubara girl. I am
Maracha.
a girl of the soil, the Lubara
Yes.
soil. And I am a home girl.
I think I've been in Maracha before.
Yes. You have
Uringi,
to
is
have
it near
been there.
Uringi?
The Aringa sub that side?
Yeah, because I've been there. Even
Yeah.
I went to the border.
You have to have been there. You're a gentleman. That's the only place that has beautiful women, period.
Well, that wasn't what I was looking for. But,
Oh, well, which is not a problem.
I will advise my friends who are still looking. So, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
How are
for
you?
having
How have
me.
you been?
Exhausted.
You're
but,
looking good.
Oh, stop it, Bill.
Why
but
not?
thank you.
You're welcome. So we are here on a serious and difficult topic for people to understand.
Okay. I don't
And
know.
I am so glad from the day I first met you officially, when we had breakfast together and we talked for hours. You know,
I put on like 5 pounds that day because of the breakfast you bought. Christ.
You know, I was like, I wish this had been a radio show. I didn't know that within 7, 8, 9 months, this would be happening.
You had the dream, and
Yes.
it's yet to even sprout more branches.
Thank you. But you see, I was so moved by what you were telling me that I realized I'm talking to the right person. And if we are to go ahead anywhere to do with, especially awareness about drug abuse, you really have a lot to contribute to this country. Not just to us who are in recovery, but to this country, because people don't know. Now, you have been in the limelight.
I am in the limelight.
You are still in the limelight.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I talk in bits and pieces.
Okay.
We don't say everything at once. Otherwise, we'll finish the Kabozi in 1 minute. You are in the limelight. You have been in the limelight, but you're in the limelight now in a different way that you are then.
Yes.
Because at that time, things were going wrong.
Yeah.
Let us start from what happened.
Oh my! Whenever somebody asks me that question, I feel like it is so much to say.
Yes.
Because I have like full encyclopedias to write about what happened. But Mobofonza, in short, I can say that I basically got into a certain period of to certain people, it's known as addiction.
Yes.
There was a coma in my life, and the coma was only just because of addiction. I was addicted to a substance, and that's exactly what happened. I had to take a break from the limelight. Actually, I didn't want to, but it forced me to.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened.
Okay. That break must have been terrible. Or were you even conscious about it?
I wasn't. Like 80% of the time, I wasn't conscious about that break. I completely wasn't conscious about it, because it felt like, when I think about it right now, it feels more like it was just, I went to bed, I woke up in the morning. It feels like a few hours.
Yes.
But it literally took about 7 years of my life.
7 years
yes.
is a long time.
Yes.
And it's hard to understand that a person can be in a blackout for 7 years.
Well, it happens with like, it's the same way in which sometimes you read about miracle stories of people who are in coma for like 16 years. There's a person I read about who was in coma for 16 years.
Yes.
And the only reason as to why he was kept alive was because his wife just kept having these dreams.
No, dreams, okay.
About him, and she just believed that somewhere he was there. And every single day she went to the hospital, kept talking to him until somewhere, somehow. So I personally believe it just, that time just went like that. It
Yes.
felt like it was a few hours for me, but it cost me 7 years of my life. And I can assure you, up till now, I'm still paying the price.
You're still paying the price. Very true. I am still paying the price. And I told people, find recovery, there is pain.
Exactly.
Pain which you cannot avoid.
Pain you cannot avoid.
It must be there.
Whether you like it
Whether
or
you
not.
like it or not.
Yes.
But now, I told people that from the age, when I turned 25 to 30, I have absolutely no recollection, almost no recollection. Actually, I have no recollection of what was happening during that time, because I had said I'll stop using at 25, but I turned 30 and I was taken into rehab. You see, that's when I woke up. And people wonder, how can you not know that you did this? You were here, you did the other. You see what I mean? And that blackout period is very, very important. But before we get to it, we are going to first take a short break, drink our water, and we'll be right back with Jackie Chandiru.
Yay.
Mind Matters, the weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda on String